Let's start with I guess the basic question. What can you tell us about Kenny Payne and his future at the university right now?
Yeah, Kenny and I've had a number of conversations throughout the last week, and uh, Kenny's going to serve as our head coach as we move into the new year, and I'm going to do what I do with every one of our programs, which is evaluate what's happening throughout the season.
I think people are interested to know you have feelings, maybe not like fan feelings, but maybe not unlike them either. Your thoughts as things, Arkansas State, DePaul, those games, what your reaction was to some of those things, and Karan Davis and some other stuff, and what action you felt like taking at the time, or what discussions ensued.
I think one of the hardest parts about um, the job that I have is trying to take the emotion out of decisions. And it's really hard to take the emotion out of sports. And I don't have any expectation that a single one of our fans takes the emotion or their feelings out of how they feel about any of our programs. But that's what I'm tasked with. And so when you have a result like Arkansas State or DePaul, my reaction, my initial reaction is going to be very similar to a lot of our fans' reaction. It's going to be disappointment. It's going to be frustration. But then I have to take a step back and evaluate the entire landscape from the inner workings of the university, throughout the community, uh, the conversations that I have with coaches, staff, players, everything involved, and make the most informed decision that I can. And that's what I'm trying to do as I go throughout any season with any head coach.
It's hard to probably put your finger on because it's hard to probably give voice to what looks like progress. But in terms of your discussions with Kenny about things you need to see, how clear do you feel like he is, and how clear are you in what you view as this is moving forward at a sufficient pace?
Um, and once again, I think that's a really tough question to answer, because um, I just I go back to the analogy of putting deposits in the bank, relative to wins and losses publicly. When you do anything in the public eye, uh, almost every action is judged as a positive or a negative, and there has to be positives in order for any person to move forward. And I would tell you that's where I'm at right now, with Kenny. Is can we continue, or can we create positive momentum in order to see progress?
Do you feel like the players are still engaged with Kenny as a head coach, and is it your feeling, not that you'd base a decision on this, but is it your feeling that they want to keep their coach?
It is. It is, and that's. I think if there's anything that is going to make me significantly the timeline or the time frame for coach out, it's going to be uh, the if there's overwhelming negativity or lack of support in the locker room, and that is not the case right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's never gone well when you have to have these discussions this soon after a coach is hired, and it is soon. I mean, I know everybody feels like it's like time drags when you're losing, but this is very soon. Um, I guess my question in that regard is, how much do you kind of review everything, not just the job Kenny's done, but did we do the right thing supporting? Is there more we could do or could be doing? How much do you kind of back up and review what's being done in support of basketball at the same time?
Constantly. I mean, this is it's all consuming right now, and It's not all consuming because football season's over or the fall seasons are over. It's all consuming because Louisville basketball has to be successful. I understand what this program means to so many. I understand what it means to this city. I understand what it means to this university. And so I am constantly sitting here saying, could we have done this better? Could we have done that better? What can we do moving forward? Everything is being evaluated from the head coach to the support to the history. I don't think we can just say that this program has been through nothing. But we also can't say that that's going to be the crutch that makes it continue on if something isn't working. Once again, I have to be extremely objective and try to account for all the variables that have gotten us to where we are today. And there's a lot of variables here. There's a whole bunch of variables here.
In terms of rumors that were reported, I know you don't want to respond to that kind of thing. Is there anything you want to say about that, or do you just want to leave that alone?
No, I think the only thing that I would say there is, this situation is from a rumor standpoint, is no different than I remember the rumors about Scott Satterfield having to beat Virginia or he was going to lose his job. I have no idea where that rumor came from because it was not something that I had hatched. There's rumors that Jeff Walls is going to take this job or that job. There's rumors that Dan McDonnell is interested in a job, and I haven't responded to any of those. And I don't feel the need to respond to this one. I'm going to continue to do what I do with all of our programs, which is have constant conversation with our head coach, with people around the program, with our student athletes, and evaluate the program and make a decision when I feel like we need to make a decision on who's leading the program.
Sometimes some fans anyway, just want nothing more than to hear that you see the frustration and that, some of the stuff that you've seen is not good enough for you either. And that should go without saying, but sometimes they like to hear you say it. How have you viewed a lot of the, 4 wins last year, all of these things that we've talked about?
It's extremely frustrating. It is extremely frustrating because, like I said, I want this basketball team to be good. I want this basketball team to be great, and it's a long way from that right now. And so I absolutely understand their frustrations. I live it. This is my job. And so while I say I have to take the emotion out of these decisions, it's impossible. It just is. It's absolutely impossible. And that's, I say it all the time. Sports will never die because the emotion that it elicits, positively and negatively. And so I absolutely understand our fans' frustrations, and I want us to be a great basketball program, and I'm going to work every day to try to get us back to that point, and I have confidence that we can.
Is there a way to turn the temperature down, or is that all on Kenny? In some ways, just you have to win.
It's all encompassing. It's all encompassing when it comes to trying to create some positive momentum. It's every action is. Once again, I go back to being, and I say the public eye. I don't think it's necessarily sports. It could be politics, but everything you do is judged. There is no, that was okay. And if you haven't made some deposits in the bank, people aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. There might be something that was said that was, I don't want to call it irrelevant, but just there wasn't much there. But if you haven't created that positive momentum, people are going to say that's a negative. And results matter. Results absolutely matter. And so yeah, to answer your question, is there a way to turn the temperature down? Outside of winning basketball games, I think that's going to be hard to do, to be honest with you.
Yeah. How does this really work? I mean, you have a certain amount of autonomy in making decisions, but this is obviously a university-wide, in some ways, decision. At least the university as a whole is a stakeholder in Kenny Payne and his future. How does this work? How wide is the discussion at whatever point action, if it becomes necessary, is taken?
Yeah, unlike any decision that I've had to make, like nearly everybody in this world, I have a boss, and I'm going to keep my boss informed of how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and decisions that I have to make. And I would tell you, based on the little less than a year that she's been my boss, she has been a fabulous boss, and she has said, Josh, I trust the decisions that you're going to make, and so keep me informed and let me know what that decision is. And so I would expect that's the conversation I would have with her relative to any head coaching decision. But then it's also my job to keep other stakeholders informed, and make sure they have a good understanding of where my head's at. But I would tell you, based on what I know about our board of trustees, the EULA board, the president, they have been very good about saying this is an athletic director's decision, and you make that decision.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about this decision, just
in general,
anyone that is in the realm of things that I'm responsible for. What this, I'm responsible for, for our head coaches. So I wouldn't expect it to be any different here.
Are you worried about the notion of like an axe hanging over the head coach every time they lose a game? We can't have this discussion every game or every week even. It may be revisited at some point. But what's your concern level that situation arises?
I feel confident that Kenny knows where I'm at relative to the evaluation of the program. And I think that's one of the things that it's hard for anyone to understand is, we can't all be involved in every conversation. But I think I've done a good job of being extremely honest with our head coaches. And that sure isn't going to change as long as I'm in this position. And so Kenny and I continue to have dialogue, and he understands where he is relative to the head coaching position here.
Are there like concrete, tangible changes that you have asked for or that he's offered that, I'm going to do this differently, or I need to revisit this? Obviously, he's revisiting a lot of things in light of your discussions and in light of just what you do coaching a team. Are there specific things that you said you need to see or that he's said he'll deliver? And
no.
Not talking about wins necessarily, but just others.
No, there hasn't been anything concrete. The discussions that I have with any of our head coaches are always centered around how do we make the program better? And what can we do to get us to where we want to go? And so that's what those conversations have been. They've centered around what can I do better, Kenny? What can you do better? What can your staff do better? All of those things combined to see what we can do to get this program headed in the right direction.